Good morning. So this morning we're going to be in my very sad looking garden bed picking peas because I have let some of them go too long. So the ideal stage for picking peas is like this. They're plump, they're still green, they're firm all the way up. This has gone a little too far. These are soggy. These are not going to be good for shelling. I'm going to clean them all up anyway though, because this right now is kind of chilly, but it's not going to be like this for the rest of the week. And that's been the issue with our weather, is we've been so up and down with the hot and the cold that I haven't even gotten weeds pulled. And every time we mow the lawn, we get a huge bunch of rain, and then all of a sudden the lawn's back up again. It's been an interesting season as far as weather goes for our area. But I am going to pick the peas and clear the peas out of here because they're pretty much done for the season, and I got to come in and trim all this grass. But I wanted to show you the difference between the ones I let go way too long to see how they're dry, they're real dry, and then the ones that are perfectly, this is almost too far gone right here, and then the ones that are perfect, that are still kind of slightly waxy, but they're plump and they're ready to go. So I'm going to pick all of these off of here, and I was going to pluck them, and then I will cut these at the roots down here because I have a lot of plants in here. So I don't know if you can see, like this is a radish that went to seed. It went to seed. All my radishes went to seed when we hit those 90s. But I'm going to cut them down here. I'm not going to take the whole plant out of the ground because there's a lot of nitrogen in those roots, and it's feeding some of my other stuff that's in here. So I'm going to come through and do that. I'm going to try really hard not to disturb any of my cucumbers I got growing down here. And the rest of this bed is peppers all the way down, which are not doing that great. I'm not having a fantastic pepper year. I mean, I'm getting peppers on here. Like this is one of our pumpkin spice, but this is the first year I've ever had peppers growing with the bacterial infection and pest damage. And I've sprayed, but it's rained so much it washes the spray right off. And then these little guys, they're not doing anything at all. They're just hanging out on the ground. They're putting on roots, and I can see like little bits of new green, but because we've been so cool at night and most of our days have been on the cooler side, they're just not growing that fast this year. But I'm gonna get these peas picked, and then I'll show you what I end up with. It's not gonna be a huge harvest because I didn't plant that many this year. This is my first year trying the shelling peas. Normally we do the snow peas or the sugar snaps, and I didn't do any of those this year because our weather was a little erratic. So these drier ones, they're actually looking really good on the inside. I'm not too far gone on all of them. So I am going to pull them all, and then I will assess as I go inside, because their shells are dry, but their peas are still looking good inside. So I'm just going to take them all with me, and we'll see as we go. I'll just kind of look at everything as I go to make sure I'm not going to have any bad peas going into my storage bags, but these should be okay. Now, if they are too far gone, like some of them might be a little wrinkly inside or really dry, then they will end up being seeding pods where I can use them for next year to regrow. But I haven't seen any like that just yet, so. All right, so I decided just to pull all the plants because it's starting to rain a little bit harder, and I'm at least under kind of an awning. It's a leaking awning because it's fabric, but it's kind of a little bit of protection for the camera, so we're gonna do it here. So I have, I grabbed a bowl. I thought we could just shell them and everything right out here and listen to the beautiful rain sounds. So I've already got a couple in my basket. And I mean, I'm getting varying, like I was mentioning out there, there's very different types. There's some that are perfect, there's some that are a little overdone. I have one, look at, you can see like, they are definitely looking a slight bit more shriveled, but they're still green. I'm still gonna throw them in my bowl. Now the bowl is slightly damp because it's out in the rain. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to process these and get them frozen so we have them for meals. So I'm just going to go through and kind of flip and shell. And I'm putting my fingers right here. I don't know if I didn't actually research the proper way to do this. I'm assuming this is fine. I'm sure there's a faster, easier way. But I'm trying to get right in between, right here, in the seam, and just pop it right open. And boop, right in my bowl. we're supposed to have rain all day today, so there's really no, I mean, unless I took everything inside, but it's really nice out. That's the problem when you want to be outside, but it just continuously keeps having strange weather. This process is going to take me a while. I probably am going to jump ahead. That makes more sense. So I don't know that anybody wants to watch me shell peas for the next like 3 hours, which is what this might take. So we will be back when the bowl is full of peas and we'll talk about processing. All right, so I kind of want to get an idea of how much I have because these are the peas that I just shelled, and I zeroed the scale out with the matching bowl, the exact same bowl, but the empty version. I'm just gonna pop it on here and we'll see what we end up with. It looks like 11.8 ounces of peas from just those couple of plants. Now I had them spaced out pretty well, so they weren't like touching each other. And I had 2 6-foot long beds and they were going along the fence. But I didn't have a lot of plants. I actually went light on the peas because I've never grown these before, so I wanted to go light on them instead of have problems with them. But yeah, this is looking good. I've got a good amount of peas in here, and then I have, ignore the paint, my kids are painting on this table. I have, these ones are a little bit softer, squishier. They were in the older pods. I'm going to let these dry completely, and then I will use these to reseed. But I still do have some of the seeds, so I don't want to waste these. Why waste them if they're probably fine to eat too, but I plan on preserving them, so I don't want to have anything that's not like this going into my bag to preserve them. Because we don't eat just straight peas, but I put them in a lot of things. Like I'll throw them in a stir fry, or I put them in pot pie. So I don't really ever just say, hey, let's make a bowl of peas and make this our meal. But it's good to have on hand for when I'm cooking other things. All right, we're ready to process our peas. So I have a sheet pan with a silicone liner on it. This is not necessary to have this. You can use a paper towel. You can use a, like one of those sack kitchen cloths. I had a whole bunch of those and my kids got a hold of them because I kept them in a bottom drawer over here, and now they're covered in dog hair because they took them around the house. So now I can't use them in the kitchen anymore. But I have the silicone sheet and this works fine for me. It's just a place for my peas to dry once they are done. I also have an ice bath here, a slotted spoon, my boiling water, and then my peas that I have washed and are in the strainer here on top of the bowl that we shelled them into. So the process of blanching, what we're going to do is I have this pot with a little bit of salt and water in it. I brought it to a roaring boil. We are going to put our peas into this pot, let them cook for like 2 minutes, no more than 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Then we're going to transport them with this metal slotted spoon into this ice bath and let them shock. This process is pretty much to stop the enzymes that age the vegetable, or whatever it is that you're blanching. So there are enzymes in here that will keep aging this until they become as wrinkly as those other ones that we had that I'm not going to use for eating and preserving. I'm going to use for seeding. So if we shock their system, those enzymes will stop. They'll pretty much die. They'll stop doing what they're doing and they won't cause aging. So that is the process we're going to do right now. I'm just going to take this, pop them all in there, and do their thing for 2 minutes. You can use a timer if you feel more confident using a timer. It is exactly 7:50, so I know that in 2 minutes I'll just pull them off. I do this process with almost all of my garden vegetables that I'm preserving because freezing the vegetables makes them last longer. I don't really care much for the taste of putting them in, I don't pickle everything. I don't want to have everything be pickled. I don't really like the dry storage for peas. So I will freeze mostly everything. Last year I even managed to blanch and freeze cabbage, which I didn't think I could. I thought it would have taken away from the taste, but I tried it because I had an extra head of cabbage that was going to go bad before we can eat it, and I was like, oh, I'll just blanch and freeze it. So I did. So you see now they're kind of popping up. They're almost ready. And we have 1 minute left. This also is faster on a stovetop that is gas. This is an electric stovetop. This is my first time having an electric stovetop. We never had them before we moved to this area, so it's a learning curve for me. I've always cooked on gas, but all right. We're going to start taking these off. So it's been 2 minutes. I'm cutting off the heat. We're going to transport them directly into our ice bath here. Pop them up and dump them right in. Very, very quickly. Okay, if I make a little bit of a mess, I'll clean it up in just a minute. But we need to get those, we need them to stop cooking. We need that enzyme to just stop producing what it does to make these age. I used to have a big strainer that sat in my pot and I would just pull it up by the little handle, but the handle has gone missing. I think I might need to go find another one of those because they were a great tool for blanching. Made this process really fast. I don't know where that handle could have gone. All right, so that is all of my peas. I'm gonna let them sit in here in this ice water and just kind of chill. And then I will strain them out and put them on here. I'll put the whole thing in the freezer, let them freeze individually without being in big clumps, and then I will put them in a bag, and that's how I'm going to store them. All right, and now this is headed to the freezer, and it's gonna go, you only need to put it in the freezer for like maybe an hour or two. I'm gonna take care of these in the morning because it's already 8 o'clock and it's my kids' bedtime. But I will be taking these out in the morning and we will put them in their bag. And it's pretty much just going to be a freezer safe bag that is going to make sure you don't end up getting any frost burn. So whether you use Ziploc or a reusable bag, that's completely up to your preferences. But that's pretty much going to be the end of this video. So once you're done with this part and you put them in the freezer for about an hour or two overnight, depending on what your situation is, you just throw them in the Ziploc, make sure they're sealed real well, and you're good to go. This is how you blanch your peas. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.